Okay, so for the outline, there are two different link options down here. I'm going to link both of them to you guys in the chat. So link number 1 and then link number 2. The only difference between these is aesthetics. You're going to pick one of these and you're going to use one of these for your outline. It's literally just a difference in how they look. So template 2 looks more like a traditional outline with like the bullet points and things like that. And so some people prefer this because they like the simplicity of it and it just makes sense to them. I will say this one is a little bit easier to turn into a rough draft if you do that. And then template 1 is a little bit boxier and it kind of shows you like where stuff goes. It's a little bit more separated to help you organize information. Pick whichever one you want. So from here, just go to File and then make a copy. That's probably relatively normal for most of you guys. But pick whichever one you want. I didn't make them like force a copy links because I wanted you to be able to kind of look at them after I explained and then decide which one you wanted to use. So that is them. I'm going to use this one to explain because everything's like all on one page for this. What a lot of you guys are going to find is that I'm asking for a final research question and I'm essentially asking you to answer your question, which means this is your final iteration of your question. Can it change after this? Yes. Will it change a lot? Not really. Might it change a lot right now? Yes. Because you have to be able to fully answer your question. And so what some of you are going to find is that your question is more of a topic than something you can actually answer. I can help you reframe your question, which I'll get to towards the end. But like you can adjust your question if it's not quite working out for you. Don't change your topic, just adjust your question. In terms of context, I'm asking for pertinent background information. So like if somebody was like, what's your topic about? That's what your context should be. So like the major issues of like who, what, where is this happening? Major background. I am asking for an attempt at a thesis statement. It's not going to be perfect, that's okay, but I'm asking for an attempt at a thesis statement. And usually you guys break that down into anywhere from like 2 to 4 sections. I'm flat out telling you, if you give me a 5-paragraph paper, I will not read it. This is where we get into the discrepancy of paragraphs with you guys. When I ask you to write a paragraph in class, you guys are like 3 to 5 sentences. When I ask you to write a paragraph on your homework, you're like 7-ish. When I ask you to write a paragraph on an essay, whole page. Oh my god. No. This is what I'm not asking you to change a lot. This is what I want you to realize. The sections are like what you guys tend to think of as paragraphs. And so when you answer your thesis, a lot of you default to having 3 sections because that's how you've been trained. And I will admit, I tend to like 3 sections as well. But some of them are only 2. Maybe you're studying causes and effects. It might break down to where you only have 2 sections, or some of you might have 4 sections. Inside each of those sections, then you break it down into multiple paragraphs. This is where most of you would just be like, and I have a page and a half of writing. And my thought to you is, more often than not, what you wrote isn't the problem, it's the fact that you didn't put paragraph breaks in. And so my advice is to only put 2 to 3 pieces of evidence. And when I say pieces of evidence, I mean a note card which is why I said one piece of evidence per note card. So put like a piece of evidence from a note card in there, like 1 to 3 of them. So that when you're looking at this, it's taking forever to load, my apologies. So when you're looking at this is one piece of evidence. It's relatively short. That's a piece of evidence. Give me 2 to 3 of those. Move on to another paragraph. This is the problem with this particular assignment, though. Everything that I've asked you to do up until this point has been very productive. So when you did the OPVLs, it was a lot of work, but you produced a lot of work. When I asked you to do the note cards, you did a lot of work, but you produced a lot of work. The research paper is aggravating because it feels like just as much work, because you need to sit there and think, what sections do I need? What order do I want to do them in? Once I have that order of sections, what evidence goes in each section? What order do I want the evidence inside of each section to go in? It's a lot of thinking, it's a lot of organizing, it's a lot of reorganizing, it's a lot of thinking. And then at the end of all of that thinking, you're like, I have nothing on my paper. Or I added 4 words for my topic selection title. Like maybe your section title just ends up being something along the lines of effects of the Vietnam War. And you did a whole bunch of thinking to get there. It feels a little aggravating. It really does. Especially because then once you do this, the majority of the text that actually goes into this, you go into your note cards and you go copy, and then you go back into your template and you go evidence, paste. And it's just a whole bunch of copying and pasting it into the right order. I do recommend that you actually physically move your note cards into the order that you want them to be in. It makes it a lot easier. I'll show you what I did with this one in a second, like how you can do that. But the outline is very much about organizing your note cards into chunks or sections. And then once you have that, what order are the sections going to go in? How many pieces of evidence are you going to put in there? I will say this, not all sections are made equal. So you might have a section that really does only have 1 paragraph. Like you really only have 2 to 3 pieces of evidence and they can all go in 1 paragraph. And then you might have another section that has 15 pieces of evidence. And so you need anywhere from 3 to 5 body paragraphs for that. Shorter. They're shorter. They're not your normal like page-long body paragraphs. It's okay. Just like the note cards, when you had different kinds of evidence for your sources and not all of your sources were even, not all of your sections will be even, and that's okay. All right, last thing. If you end up with a section that is really only featuring 1 source, you did it wrong. And this is why. Number 1, I didn't ask for a book report. I asked for a research paper. And number 2, how do you know that source is right? I can find a source that says that the Holocaust did not happen. I know exactly what author to look up. I know exactly what book to look up. I can find that source. And if I make that an entire section and I basically go, no, the Holocaust didn't happen, and I only cite that 1 author and that 1 book, and I ignore the thousands of other books that say, oh, yes, it did happen, then I'm wrong. You need to do something called corroborating your evidence. I say this to students every year and they get very miffed, and I'm sort of okay with it. I don't care about your opinion. History doesn't care about your opinion. You can be wrong. In order for you to prove that you're not wrong, you need to find multiple sources that say that something happened. Because the more evidence that you can find that something happened, the more likely it is that it's true. If Eliza walks in and says, oh my god, there was a fight at lunch today, and like everybody else in the room turns and looks at her and goes, girl, you're crazy, I'm gonna assume that a fight did not happen at lunch. But if Eliza walks in and goes, oh my god, there was a fight at lunch today, and Paige is like, oh my god, right? It was insane. And then Jada's like, I know, guys, it was insane. It was amazing. Did you see her throw that punch? I can safely assume that there was a fight that happened. You have corroborated each other's stories. That's what you need to happen in the sections. It's a little forgivable in a paragraph, though even within a paragraph, you should try and have multiple sources when at all possible. But within a section, you definitely want multiple authors. You want multiple perspectives. And you might end up finding out that you have some gaps in your research. My comeback to you for that one is then find more sources. Ms. Pontius, do I have to go back and do OPVLs and note cards for them? No. No, you don't. If you end up needing to find a source, find it. But please make sure that you cite it somewhere, so that you have the citation, because you will need the citation. So at least save the URL on a document so that you have it. And then the last thing that I want to reference is, I realize this sounds relatively straightforward. However, it's not. And for a lot of you, you haven't done this before, and it does get aggravating. And I know this from experience because I've taught this before. I also know that a lot of you will do this later. You're definitely not going to do it this week. Some of you might start over break, but most of you are going to start the week we get back. And so, unusually, I have set up specific office hours. So these ones in pink right here from 1:30 to 2:30 on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This is what I anticipate happening. Usually in class, we would have at least 2 days devoted to you just doing the outline, organizing your note cards, and then transferring it into an outline. I don't have the time to do that when I only teach you 3 days a week. But during that time period, I will literally, like last year, I sat down on the floor with Liana for about a half an hour and just helped her organize cards and come up with her sections. If you are seriously stuck on like, what sections do I need? How do I answer this? Ask me. It's not a test. You're learning how to write a research paper. Some people will come to me with the vast majority of their outline done, and they'll say, can you just confirm that this looks okay? And I'm fine with that. Some people will come to me with nothing and say, I don't even know where to start. Fine with that too. Come ask for help, please. I will say it's due the following Monday. I can't always help you on the weekends. Weekends are for husband. So I'm offering time on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before it's due. Please make time to come and ask for help. I have helped students rewrite their thesis. I have helped them rewrite their question. I have helped them come up with sections. I've helped them go through how to organize the evidence inside those sections. Ask for help. It's not a test. But plan accordingly. You'll notice I have like a couple meetings afterwards. Until I have like those meetings, I have no problem staying, but you need to be there before office hours are over. So like if nobody's there at 2:30, then I'm going to close out the meeting. But if we're in the middle of talking, I'm not going to be like 2:30, we're done. So just kind of keep that in mind. I will work over those hours. If those don't work for you, but you still want to meet, please reach out to me, because I can meet at other times during that week. If you are interested in doing this over break, which some of you will be, I can also meet during break. Just hit me up. I can do that for individuals or for small groups if you would prefer. Let me know. I think that is it in terms of outlines. Like I said, pick whichever one of these is more appealing to you. Whatever one is going to help you organize the best. It makes no difference to me, but you're only doing one. You're not doing both. All right, I think